Good morning, everyone. My name is Napai. I'm the personal librarian for the College of Graduate Studies, but I'm also involved with other subject areas in the College of Human Sciences. I'm a librarian for information science, history, and political science. This morning, I'm going to take you through on our reference management tools. I will be presenting the slides in the first hour, and then we're going to go live and demo on how you're going to use these tools, especially Mendeley. And I will also touch on one of our key databases that has a lot of information on research methodologies, which is our SAGE Research Methods Online. This is my overview. We're going to be speaking on reference management tools platforms. I'm going to emphasize mainly Mendeley, which you can use online, and also you have to download a desktop which will allow you to work offline. You don't have to be connected to the internet to use Mendeley. And besides Mendeley, there are other programs like your Refworks, which we also support in the library. And all the students who've been registered with UNISA for quite a number of years, they will know that we actually started supporting Mendeley. But because supporting Refworks, but because Mendeley provides this off-campus, off online usage, which you can use on your desktop, then we now opted for Mendeley because of data challenges. So we know most of our students are now using Mendeley more than Refworks. And in some subject areas, there are students who are using EndNote. It's another software which you can download from the internet. But EndNote, we don't actually have a license for EndNote. It comes as a package with a Web of Science. It's a free tool that you can get from a database called the Web of Science. And in some subject areas, we know, like in history, anthropology, they are using Zotero, which is also another program that you can use to store all your references. And I'm just going to touch again on, we're going to go live on Mendeley, how you're going to write and cite using your Microsoft Word, where you would have installed your Mendeley, so that when you start writing your chapters, you are able to pick up references from your Mendeley databases. The Mendeley database, it's actually your bibliographic information. When you go to a catalog or you go to any of the databases, you can export all your references to these tools. And I'm going to show you how you're going to write and cite when you're writing your chapters. And then I'm also going to demonstrate how you're going to use your web importer, the one that you would have uploaded when you register for your Mendeley account. And there I'm going to touch on using either the catalog or the ENCO software to search, and your Google Scholar settings for you to be able to export references into your Mendeley account. And finally, I'm going to look at the SAGE Research Methods Online, which is one of our big databases that deals with all information on research methodologies. Okay, in most disciplines, there are various styles or referencing techniques that are used. In generally, a lot of departments use Harvard, and please make sure that the style that you choose to use from the onset of your studies, it's the one that you will communicate with your department or your supervisor. Because just take note that Harvard has got different variants. there are different editions. And for instance, in information science, the department that I'm responsible for, they are using Harvard, but there's a touch on that. They've got their own guidelines. And I know in health studies as well, they are using Harvard, but they have their own guideline on how students should use. They provide their own guidelines. Just make sure that you check with your supervisor where you are registered in the department, the edition of Harvard that you need to use. We know in psychology and in some disciplines they use APA, and in most of the language departments, like your English studies, they use MLA. Make sure that you stick to one style of referencing. You are all familiar with this page. This is the library's homepage. What are we going to do now? Because this is on referencing, you're going to go through your library guide. You go to the library's homepage, you click on library guides, and remember these are all the guides that we have, subject areas in the library, but in between we have generic guides. What we're going to search for now is what we call the Reference Management Tools Guide. You click on Reference Management Tools Guide, or in this instance, we're going to go first. I just want to point that in all your library guides, and I'm sure by now you guys are aware that you each have a library guide that was compiled by your personal librarian. Remember, I'm representing a team of librarians. There's 17 of us. We are each responsible for different subject areas. And you all know now that you each have a librarian and you all have a library guide. So these guides are available for 24/7, and we have different tabs on these guides. If you want to go for books, you go here, articles, thesis. But in this instance, I want you to look at your referencing. This is where you will go to your own subject guide and check what your librarian, in consultation with the department, they've put under referencing tab. So in this library guide, which is for information science, under referencing, I've kept, these are some of the examples of all the library citation techniques, your referencing techniques, but there is a PDF document for all the students that are registered for the subject area. And I think in most guides, there are guidelines on how you guys are going to reference. So information science students, they have this PDF document from undergraduate level to PhD that they must use for referencing. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. But when you go to your library guide under the A to Z list, we're going to select what we call a reference management tools, which is under the R, instead of your own library, your own subject specific guide. So when you open that reference management tools guide, it will take you to a library guide like this one on reference management tools. We have here Mendeley. We also support Refworks, and remember I said there are those that also use EndNote. So we have information on the three, but the key databases that we support on these reference management tools, it's Mendeley and Refworks. So when you click on that drop-down menu under Mendeley, it tells you that there are 4 things that you have to do. First, when you click on that getting started, if you want to get started with Mendeley, it will give you these options where you first have to go and register an account. It's a free account, and make sure that you use your MyLife email account to register for this. If, for instance, you've been using your Gmail account, it's okay. You can maybe ask the Mendeley team to merge your Gmail account to your current MyUNISA email address, because these are paid up databases. We pay a lot of money for you guys to be able to use this. So you can contact the help desk from Mendeley and ask them if they can match your Gmail with your MyLife email account. I think that is possible. And secondly, what you have to do when you have registered that account, you'll see on their homepage, I'll just show you now, you have to now go and download what you call your Mendeley desktop. This is actually nice because it will allow you not to work offline. Remember, when you're doing a search, you always work online. You'll have your online account of Mendeley, all your references on an online version of Mendeley, but you will be able to work offline as well when you start doing your write-up. I'll show you how that one functions. So you have to have your Mendeley downloaded on your desktop to allow you to work offline. And thirdly, you have to install what we call the web importer. This will help you when you work on the catalog or when you work on your ENCO, which searches UNISA catalog plus all the other databases that we subscribe to be able to import your references into your Mendeley account. It will also help you. I know you guys, you like Google so much, but I would encourage you to use Google Scholar. I'll show you how you're going to set the settings on Google Scholar for you to be able, when you're searching on Google Scholar, to be able to, remember on Google Scholar, you're not allowed to select items. You can select one by one, which is time consuming. I'm going to show you a trick on how you can set those settings for you to be able to send all the references, your preferred references that you've searched from Google Scholar into your Mendeley account. But first, you have to install what we call the Mendeley web importer. And finally, once you've registered, you've downloaded your desktop, and then you've installed the web importer, you finally now have to install what we call your citation plugin. This one is actually the one that will allow you to do your in-text citation and will enable you to tell the system that now fetch this reference and put it under this paragraph or code. And then at the end of the day, it allows you to create the bibliography automatically. I'll show you when we go into a practical session. Okay, fine. So this is your Mendeley page. You can go under our A to Z e-resources, or you can just type in mendeley.com, and then you come to this page. This is the landing page. For those of you who don't have accounts, you can go and create an account. This is your first step. And for those of us who have accounts, we go and just use that sign in option. And remember, when you create the password, it can be any other password. It doesn't have to be your MyUNISA password. Here you can just create any other password. The same password that you're going to use when you've created this account will be the same password that you use when you open your desktop. So it has to be the same. Once you've signed in, I'm going to sign in because I've got an account with Mendeley. It opens the sign-in page, and then you just put in your MyLife email account and your password, and then you sign in. When you sign in, it lands on this page. For those of you who did not export anything into this page, it will be an empty page. For some of us who've been exporting stuff on the page, this is how it looks like. It comes with all the PDFs that you exported when you're doing a search from any of the databases. If that article has a PDF version, which is your full text article, it will export the full article, the references, and then it will give you an option. It will show you that all of these articles, they do have PDF or links to PDF. And what is nice here, it tells you, usually it normally exports the current references will appear at the top of the list. So it will show you the dates here when these were added into this bibliographic management tool. So this is your bibliographic management tool. It's your own library of references. So we're trying to encourage all of you to move away from having scrap. You know, in olden days, some of the professors will have a notebook where they will write all the references that they were using, be it a book, a conference proceeding, an article, a chapter that appeared in a book. They would write it by hand. And at the end of the day, when they're about to submit their articles, they will ask a secretary to type their bibliography so that they can embed it into their article. So those that time is gone now. There's a new way of doing things. You can just export references into this Mendeley bibliographic tool, and then you can tell the system when you work on your desktop to create a bibliography for you. But what is key, as soon as you've created these accounts and as soon as you've started exporting your references, you need to have, you need to stick with only one format of citing, whether it's Harvard, it's APA, Vancouver, all the other citation styles that you want to use. Just stick to one format so that when you create the bibliography, it comes in one. If it's a book, it's done in that format, in a Harvard style, articles, and so forth. And let's say you've created this account now, and then you have a book that you've been using. You haven't exported it in any format as an online. You are allowed to add any new stuff manually. When you click on that add new, I'll show you when we go live. It will tell you whether you want, this is an article, then it gives you all the options, the author of the article, the title of the article, the date of the journal name. You know, if you want to add an abstract, you're free to do that. It will give you all the variants of manual edition. Okay, and you can even create folders here. Let's say you're working on chapter 1 and you want to submit references on chapter 1. It allows you to create your folders where you can, like here, I've got an education and literature review folder. If you're working on your literature review references, you want to put them aside, you can just put all your references in one folder, and then you call them literature review, meaning when you go and do your in-text citation for that particular chapter, whether it's chapter 2 or chapter 1 or 3, then you are able to only pick up references that are on literature review, and then you just ask the system to create a bibliography just only on that particular chapter. So it happens on an online version. You can also do it on your desktop. Okay, so this will be your online. Once you've registered an account, the first page that you will be faced with is this one. So on this page, it says to you, now you can go and download your Mendeley desktop. This is your first step. And then secondly, you must go and do your web importer. You have to download the web importer and do your citation plugin. This is an MS Word plugin, which will allow you to be able to work on your chapter where you can draw all your references from Mendeley. Right, this is how your desktop will look like. It says here, this is my Mendeley desktop. If it's successfully been downloaded, you'll have it on your desktop, and the key here is that red sign where it will sit on your desktop, and when you open this, you use the same password that you've used when you opened the online account. And when you work on this one, there's a sync button here. So this particular database of your references will sync references. It's going to fetch what you've exported from your online version. So there's a sync, but every time you open this, you'll see at the bottom here, it will tell you that now it's syncing, meaning it's fetching the references that were exported online and then plugging them here on this database. So always when you open this, it will speak to the other version, your online version. So that the references that you find here should always be the same one as you will have on your online one. So it will sync, it will speak to the online version and fetch them here so that you can work from this one. Right, I'm sure you all know this page. I've just captured this page where now you have this empty shell of a database that you've just created. Mine had references. Yours will probably be empty for those of you who don't have Mendeley account. So what do you do now? You go to your particular database. The most common one, it's the EBSCOhost one. You go and do your search. In this example, excuse me, we have theoretical framework or conceptual framework, and information needs. I'm a librarian. I want to know what kind of a theory or framework it's used in the information needs space. And then you would have selected your scholarly peer review journals, as you always do when you do a search. You would have used specific, excuse me. You would have used specific dates as your limiters, and then you know your Boolean operators. You're looking at this or that, and this, and then this is a keyword search, and then you search. Whatever you find on this list, how do you now select? Remember, we have plus signs on this. When you start selecting, they turn into envelopes, meaning it's like a folder. You've now put stuff into a folder. So for this exercise, I've just selected the 2 items, and then I went to my folder to open them. And once I've opened the folder, it gives me this option. Previously, we said you can send this to your email, where it will come with all the PDF documents, or where it will refer you, where you will find the full text. So in this instance, we are now going to try to send these 2 references to our online Mendeley bibliographic account. So an empty shell now will be populated with these 2. How do you do that? You just click on export there, and then it will give you this page. The default, when you land on this export manager page, where you say you want to export this, it's always on Refworks. But because we are not using Refworks in this example, those who want to send this to Refworks will just click there. It will go to their Refworks account for those ones who have Refworks accounts. But in this instance, because I'm demonstrating Mendeley, I click on the first one. I just highlight, sorry, highlight on this one. This is my reference manager. And then I click on save. So you will see when we go live what happens. This will sit at the bottom of my page. And when I click on this one, those 2 items will populate on my desktop, and then it will be synced to my online version. So these are the 2 references that I've just clicked on. Let me just go back. When you click on export, it lands on this page. The default usually is Refworks, but you have to select reference management because we want to send this to our Mendeley. It's not listed here, but it falls under this reference manager. And then you click on save. When you click on save, it gives you this RIS file. You have to click on that RIS file for you to be able now to export this to your first. It lands on your desktop. These are the 2. and it will land on your online version. These are the two. So it goes automatically to both. If it lands on this one, when you open the desktop, it syncs and fetches the two exported items that you've just done a search on EBSCOhost. Okay, and if you want to send this to a folder, you just highlight it and plug it into a folder of your choice that you have created. So it goes on both online and it goes on your desktop as well. And when you look at the desktop here, you will see that it will sync to the online version, and then it will give you all the authors. When you start doing your write-up, your right-hand side, you can just say, I want to fetch this author, or I'll go to this reference and fetch, and then say, you know, sync this to my or cite to my document. I'll show you when we do the live demo. Okay. Any question on the online? This slide just indicates to you that any of this will come with a link to the full text. When you click on it, it will give you a PDF, and in some instances, it will also just give you a PDF link from what you have exported. It will give you a link to the PDF. It's indicated with a green or this icon of a PDF. And in some instances, it will allow you to read your paper online. It has a link where you can go and just read the paper online. You don't have to download a PDF anyway. It's there. You just open a PDF and start reading and just do your noting, and then start writing your next chapter or your first chapter, whatever you prefer to do. Right. Any question on this? You can paste them on the chat. Mr. Machila will just indicate if I have to answer anything. Yes. Number 2. Yes. Okay.
There are some questions. Faith wants to know if she can use the same password that she used for my UNISA.
Okay, Faith, it doesn't have to be the same. I think you can always use another password. You can use your MyLife email account, of course, when you create the account, but you can use any other password. You can use your name as a password, but always remember that when you use your online version, when you open your Mendeley account, remember that with your desktop as well, you have to use the same account, the same password. It doesn't have to be your MyUNISA password all the time. It's your choice, but preferably, because this is a new bibliographic management tool, you can just create, you can use your date of birth, your child's name, your parent's name, but remember that when you use that password on your online, it has to be the same also on your desktop one, the one that you're going to use when you start working on your chapters. Another question?
Thank you, Ms. Yes, this one from Saima. She wants to know if she can export web pages or videos or link into Mendeley other than PDF documents.
Yes, you can add them. Remember, you have a manual edition. I showed you that there's an add button. It will tell you, it will give you, if it's a book chapter, it will allow you to write up a book chapter, and then you reference it properly. If it's a newspaper article, you can also add it if you didn't, and you can export the links. But remember, when you export the links, it has to have a context. You can't just take a link from anywhere. You have to write up, this is a link, this is the author of whatever I'm trying to export. So you are able to add anything on your Mendeley account manually.
Thank you.
You can export anything. I'll show you how you're going to do it, especially when you work on internet, because you would have downloaded that web importer. When you are on the web, if you have your web importer in place, you can export anything to Mendeley.
Yes, thanks, Ms. Napai. I see she has a follow-up saying if there's already documents on the desktop, can they also export to Mendeley?
Yes, you can. There's a drag and drop. You can drag and drop it into your Mendeley account. On your Mendeley, on that reference management tool, I only showed you when you're getting started. There are other things that you can do on Mendeley. So go and familiarize. I'll show you when we go on live. There are other things that you can do on Mendeley besides what I'm just showing you the basics, but there's more that you can do and you can learn about.
Thanks, Ms. Napai. We also have law students in our midst, and some of them, they attended the college-specific training yesterday by Ms. Naidu, and they want to know if Refworks and Scholar, how are they different from Mendeley? Because some are saying they can see that they have the same functionalities.
Yes, they are the same. They do similar things, except that Refworks, you have to be online all the time. You can only work with reference online. Refworks doesn't have a desktop where you can disconnect online and continue to work offline. That's the only difference, but they are the same. They do similar things. Okay, and the Scholar, I'm not sure what do you mean by the Scholar. Do you mean Google Scholar?
No, what is the Scholar? Or Scholar citation style.
I'm not sure. Remember, a lot of people are using different ways of doing their citations. They mainly use footnotes, and then I'm sure that Scholar thing that Ms. Naidu spoke about, it's for them to be able to cite, to use the footnotes, because they use footnotes more than any other subject area.
Yes, thanks, Ms. Napai. And there's another one on Harvard. They want to know, does Mendeley referencing styles align with UNISA reference guide? And they're asking this because in Harvard, there are many different styles, which are not necessarily the same as UNISA guidelines. So students sometimes have to manually convert to align to UNISA requirements. And they want to know who's responsible for them, for who's the responsible person that they can go to help with this challenge.
The responsible person to help with this challenge will always be your supervisor. You can just tell them that you've registered with Mendeley, and you can see the Harvard on Mendeley. It's different from what your department your guideline from the department. What normally happens, you can go ahead with the Mendeley referencing style, but when you submit, you have to tailor make your in-text citation, and some of the difference, it's in most cases, it's not that varied. So you have to work your style in compliance with your departmental requirements. Then you have to do a lot of editing, because there's no automatic style. I know with Refworks, you can upload your own style and ask the system to keep your preferred style. That's another wonderful thing about Refworks. You can tailor make your style in your, for your own usage. But with Mendeley, you cannot, because remember, Mendeley offers, I'll show you when we go live, the kind of style that are on Mendeley, and they are Harvard. It's just one version of Harvard. It's not in different editions. But with Refworks, they have different styles, and you can edit the style and save it as such.
Yes, thanks, Ms. Napai. I'll take the last three, then you'll go live. And there were some who were struggling to see the size of the letters, but I indicated that you've taken the pictures and you'll go live, and we will share the slides and the recording. Sharon wants to know if she can use both Zotero and Mendeley at the same time.
Sharon, those are tools, and I would advise you keep to one. Zotero is a tool that is normally used by mainly anthropology and history students. I think it's because it allows for footnoting as well. So if you were to choose, you can't use Mendeley and use Refworks and use Zotero. You have to stick to one tool. Remember, these are just tools that you keep your references in.
You are not audible.
I'm not audible.
We can hear you from this side. Prof Mbata, can you hear Ms. Napai? Okay, Ms.
Prof.
Napai,
Mbata, can you hear me? Tony, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can proceed. She'll respond in the background. Thank you.
Okay. You have to stick to one tool, and otherwise it's going to be too confusing if you're using Zotero and Mendeley at the same time. You need to work with one. Another question, Tony?
Yes. Let me just go back. Okay, this one, I hope I'm pronouncing their name correct, Maku. They want to know if they can download the Mendeley app to their desktop using private account like Gmail instead of My Life.
Previously, it used to be possible. But when you go to the Mendeley page, it says you have to use your institutional logins. So it has changed. I'll indicate that when I go live.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Napai. And I must indicate that in the background, we appreciate the contribution of colleagues. They are explaining what a scholar is and also how students can go about the official UNISA guidelines. Then the last one, before you move on, the students wants to know if they can start using Mendeley during the proposal phase. And I think that will be the last one. Thank you.
That would be a good thing to start at. You have to start from the beginning, whether you are in proposal phase or chapter 1 or what the sooner you start, the better. Okay, then we continue. Remember I said you have to create an account. I showed you how you've created an account. You would have downloaded that desktop, which is sitting on your desktop, that Mendeley desktop version, which is on your desktop. I showed you how the online version of Mendeley looks like when you export to it and how you export it. And I showed you how the desktop looked like. So the second thing that you would have done is to install that web importer. Remember on your desktop, you recognize your Mendeley desktop. It says Mendeley desktop, it has this icon. If you have installed your web importer properly, you should have this on your timeline. When you do any search, whether it's on the catalog, whether it's on Google Scholar, you must have this web importer. This will allow you to import titles of books, chapters of ebooks, or even any material that you get from your Google Scholar, because the more we say we don't want our students to use Google, the generic one, but we do encourage our students to go and use Google Scholar. So you can now, instead of exporting your references from Google Scholar or from the catalog one by one, you have to have this web importer, which will allow you to select from the list that you've been searching and export them all at once. What I'm going to demonstrate here is to say to you, you can either use the catalog or you can use what we call ENCO. It's on the library's homepage. When you click on library, search the catalog, it gives you this. Searching on ENCO actually allows you to search our library print books and ebooks and some of the packages that we have on ebooks. So this will enable you to export, to make your selection and export Sorry about that. My example here, it's on research methods, and I'm looking at research methods, methodology books in sociology. And then when you enter your search button, it comes to this page. So it's got all kinds of limited. I'll show you quickly when we go and do the demo. So you can say I'm looking at both print and ebooks. You make your selection, and you can date. You can select according to dates as well. You say you're looking for books from 2015 to current, and then it changes from these results to that, and then you apply. And once you are happy with what you're seeing in front of you, you have to click on this icon. This is your web importer. You click on your web importer, and then it says to you, please log into your Mendeley account, because this is your Mendeley web importer version. You're working on the web, but you want to import references from your web, but you have to log in on your Mendeley. The same account on your desktop and the same account on your online, you log in. So I've logged in, here I am, and then I click on this, and then it opens my login. Once my login is open, all these items now, because I don't have a way to select them, like on your Google Scholar, you won't have ticks where you can select from this. It transports this into this. So it gives you references on this, and it tells you whether an ebook that you've searched for, it's available in PDF or it's not found in a PDF, meaning this is a print book. If it's available in the library, you can request it. Remember, you're searching for and print books. And I'm sure most of you in this current situation, you would like to use a lot of ebooks, because the borrowing process in the library, it's tedious, and the library sometimes is closed, you can't request all sorts of things. So you are encouraged to limit according to ebooks and see what other versions of research methods in sociology you can get out of this list. And then you start selecting. When you start selecting, it gives you these boxes when you select, and then it allows you to add into your Mendeley account. And when I go and view what is in my account, you will see that first reference that I've added into my library account appears first on my list of references on my online version. So you do a search, you come to this place, you get your results, you limit according to ebooks or even print books. And if I start adding, selecting here, but you first have to open here and you log in. It opens this kind of a format. You select, and you add. It automatically adds to your online account, and then you just go and view what's in this online account. You see that first reference. That first reference is already in my online account. So it comes with a PDF. There's my PDF version. I can even read it online. I don't have to go and open the PDF to read it. When I click on that online, it will give me the full book. And then with all the table of contents, I can just go and browse through the table of contents and just tell the system that, I'll use chapter 3 or chapter 4 or chapter 5, whatever. It's here, it's online, it's your personal library. You don't have to download, print, or send to your email. It's kept here. You can come after every 3 days when you're working on your chapters. The system keeps this for you. It's your personal library of references with all the online version of whatever you were searching sitting in this library. And this will be duplicated, of course, on your desktop library. When you open your desktop, it will fetch that first item that you've added when you were doing either a catalog search or the anchor search, where you added while you were using your web importer. If you go on Google Scholar, on your Google Scholar settings, you have to do the settings first. Just don't go and start doing a search on Google Scholar. you have to have proper settings for you to be able to send your references that you find on Google Scholar to your Mendeley. You can do it without settings, but it's tedious because you have to do it one by one. What then do? You go and go to Google Scholar. At the top there, those 3 lines there, these ones, you click on them, it opens this. At the end, you click on settings. When you click on settings, it gives you this page. The default there is that don't show any citation import links, but we want it to show citation to import links. So you click on the second one and it gives you all this. For people who are using EndNote, they will select EndNote. For those who are using Refworks, they will select Refworks. And for you that are using Mendeley, you'll go for reference management. And then you click on this, you've highlighted this, you click on reference management, which is your Mendeley, and then you save. Once you've saved that, you are now allowed to do your search. So in this instance, I've just searched on research methods, books in library science, in my field of study. And then it gave me the results, but because I cannot add all of this import into RefMan, one by one, I've got this web importer. I have to open it first. As soon as I open it, this communicates all of the references. They are moved to this page. And then as I browse, I'm browsing because I want only PDF documents, because I'm interested to read up on full text items. And I see there's this title that I can use as a research method in my specific field of study. I select it and I add it, and then I go and view it in my library, which is my online library. And there it is. It just takes it there. You can send more than one. So I'm just making an example because I can't add more. So you can go through your list of your Google Scholar settings, and then you can choose more than 10, 20, 15 items, and you add them all. They will appear here on your database. So there I can read it online, or I can open the full text and read the full text, or I can just read it here in my space, in my library. So this is your Google Scholar setting. What is nice with Google Scholar setting, you can also use the Google Scholar setting and say to the Google Scholar setting, I'm looking at ebooks that are available through UNISA library. What do you do that? You go back to your settings, you click here, and it opens your settings. You click on the settings, and then it brings this library links. So you need to know that you're searching the Google Scholar setting, but you're searching the UNISA library as a whole. You can add this. There's a ProQuest. This is a database that is available. You can add it. You just say, I'm looking at any material that is linked to UNISA library or UNISA, University of South Africa. It gives you this, and then you tick it. You can tick this because this is an open WorldCat. These are some of the books that we are also linked to. So you'll see most of them are available at our library. So you set this and then you save. When you do any title search of books, instead of using the library page, you can use Google Scholar to do the library links, and then it will show you. If you start doing a search, it will tell you that this is available. But then the key here, you have to be signed into your Gmail account. So you use your Gmail account to sign in first so that you can have this My Library. This is your personal library via Google Scholar. You sign in, and then you are able to sign in. If I go My Library, this is my library, I've signed in, and then I can just conduct a search. In this instance, I've done a search on continuing professional development, and I wanted to see in my field of work, how are librarians continuing to develop their skills. Then whatever I'm searching on Google Scholar will tell me this is at UNISA library, it's at UNISA library, and it will pick up stuff that is also not at UNISA, but it's within the World Catalog, which we are also affiliated to. So what do you do here? Again, you go to your web importer, and then you open this, and it transports all your references here. It allows you to browse. You can select what is available at UNISA. So these are book titles. You can add this to you add them, and then you go and view them in your library, and the first page will appear. When we go live, I'm going to ask you guys, when we are done, you must go and look at this nice video on how you're going to do your right-hand side. It's also available also on Refworks for those who are registered for Refworks. There's a small clip that you can use. This will be demonstrated to you, and I'm going to also go into the installation of the plugin where you're going to write. If you have installed your plugin successfully, if you open your Word document, it should look like this. It must have these opening so that when you start citing, you can just fetch your citations from your bibliography, your Mendeley bibliographic database. And then I'll quickly show you on the research support tab on any of your guides. There's this tab. There's a very good database called Sage Research Methods Online. I'm going to demonstrate that briefly towards our end, but I think I'm done now. I'm going to go live. Okay, thank you. Any questions? I'm now going to go live. Let's see if we have any other questions.
There are questions, Ms. Napai. Okay, this one on Mendeley. Saima wants to know how they can export references from Mendeley to MS-Doc to include them in the chapter. So I believe what she's saying is that there is a path for Mendeley and there's another one for MS Word. So are they working together on?
I'm going to show them how to do that.
Okay, thank you. And another student was asking if they can use Mendeley to do anointed bibliography. So they are saying that in proposal, they can make a list of the works that they are going to use. So if they have those lists, can they use Mendeley to just do the bibliography nicely according to the required style?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Any other question?
Yes, this one from Diana. She wants to know if UNISA has subscribed to Mendeley for students, or is it a free version which is limited?
No, we are subscribed to Mendeley.
And Zotero, can they also access it?
Zotero is not a subscribed database. You can go to the internet and download it from there. It's a free software.
Okay. And Sympathy wanted to know about library catalog. How do they go there? But I've also posted a link for them to access the previous workshop concerning these other issues.
Okay, library catalog. It's very simple. I'll show them when I do my demo.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we ready to go? Can I continue? Okay.
Can I continue? Thanks.
Okay, fine. Colleagues, I'm now going to take you through to what I've just been showing on my slides. This is the window of the university. If you want to go to the library, you just click on that gray bar. There's a library link, and then you land on the library's homepage. The person that has just asked about the library, how do you get to the library? This is where you go for the library. This is the library, the search the catalog. You click here. For search the catalog link, it takes you to the search functionality of the library. You can do a search here and export your references using your web importer. Okay, but in my demo this morning, I'm just going to show you how you're going to access your Mendeley. All of you have a library guide. This is the link to all the guides that we have in the library. All the personal librarians have a guide that they've compiled under specific subject areas. You can go to your own subject area, but in this instance, we're going to look at the reference management tool that I've been talking to this morning. So you just scroll down until you arrive at R for reference management tools. You click on it and then it opens this. Remember I told you that we subscribe to Mendeley. We also subscribe to Refworks. There is an EndNote and there is also Zotero, which are EndNote. We don't support EndNote. It comes as a package. If you want to use EndNote, you have to use the package that we have from the Web of Science, or else you have to go and purchase your own software. The same with people who have to use the Zotero. But in your library guides, each one of you have some advice from either the librarians in consultation with your academics, what you can use. If you go to your specific subject guide, you'll see we've listed all of them there, so it's your choice. But we support Mendeley and we support Refworks. So if you want to get started, remember I said you can click on that drop-down menu and you want to get started. If you don't have an account or you want to build your research library, how do you do that? It will give you hints on how you can. Somebody said, if I have something on my desktop, how do I take them to my Mendeley account? You have to have your Mendeley account open where you can just drag and drop into your account. It gives you all the hints. How do you export? It tells you how do you do that. It tells you how do you write and cite. It tells you how do you manage your references. The same with Refworks. It has anything. You can drag and drop PDFs. How do you manage your folders? How do you write and cite? There's a clip there. The same with Mendeley. It has a clip on how do you do all these things and how do you manage your references. I've just shown you there's a clip that you can go and listen to on how do you do your write and cite, which I'm going to demo. It's about 5 minutes. You can go and listen. How do you now, work with these references that you have in the database? How do you now manage them when you want to go and write and do your writing? There's a clip both on Refworks and Mendeley. But what I want to show you this morning, how do you register an account? I think this is fairly simple. If you don't have an account with Mendeley, it says sign in via your institution, or it actually wants you to sign via your institutional sign-in, meaning your university's email account. If I continue here, because I've already have an account, it will allow me to go in, but I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do is to actually show you guys how are you going to register an account. On the Mendeley's website, okay, I've already signed in, but there is a version where it says to you, okay, there's a problem. There is, on my slide, there is a version where you can go and sign in. Sorry about that. Those of you who don't have Mendeley, if you sign in, it will, if you're already creating an account, it will, this is a landing page. It gives you all kinds of other, relevant information. I'm going to plug a download Mendeley Reference Manager because apparently it has changed, but I want you to use the old version because the new one, we haven't upgraded to the new version. So I'm, Tony, just remind me to send you the link of this download so that they don't download the wrong version. On the Mendeley's first screen, you'll have those your download for your desktop. You'll have your download for the web importer, and then you'll have your install your MS plugin. So because I have an account, I can't see those versions because I do have an account, but you'll have those three. They are in my slides. So this is your landing page. You can search for anything from Mendeley, or you can go to your own library. So this is my Mendeley library. This is my online one. I said to someone who asked if I have a reference, how do I add? You click here. If you have something that you didn't export online and you want to add it manually, you click on that add manual entry. It will give you the version, and then you can say if it's a journal article, or if it's a book, or if it's a conference proceeding, or it's a newspaper article, or maybe it's a whatever it is, or it's a book chapter. So you have to call it what it is, and then it will give you steps on how you're going to add this. And at the end of the day, and then you just save, it will just go into your account. So you can add manually. You can see it usually gives you what you've recently added. They'll be at the top of your list. You can create. You can have collections where you can create folders, and then you can search. Let's say you've got this big database, and then you're just looking for Smith 2020. You can just go and ask for Smith 2020, and then it will pull it out of this. And you can look at all your publications, your recently added, or all your references. You can just play around and see what you can do. I'm going to leave this one open. What you're going to do now, I just want to share my Word document, because now you would have created an account, you would have installed your plugins, your web importer, plus your Word document plugin. So I want to, Tony, just allow me to add I just want to share again. I want to share the Word document where I'm now going to show you guys how you're going to do your in-text citation. This is my second step. Guys, remember you create an account and you open your online account. You would have downloaded your desktop. It's there on the desktop. You would have uploaded your Word plugin. And when you go to your references, when you open now, this is the chapter that I'm writing, and I want to submit this. The due date is just upon me. What do? You go references. You click on references. Nothing's happening. Okay. There you are. When you click on your references, if your plugin has installed properly, it will look like this. And here, this is where your style comes in. Your citation style. My style it's Harvard. Remember, there are different variants. So there's APA 6th edition, there's Chicago, there's Harvard, I'm not sure what mine is, but I've selected Harvard. So my one is Harvard, which is, it's already on the list. Where is it? So my style is Harvard. I'm not sure about the version. I've just selected the ordinary Harvard version. So guys, you go and select a style, because this is now what you're going to to infuse into your chapters that you're going to be writing. And this you have to confirm with your supervisor, whether you have to use APA. You saw there are different styles that you can, and if it means you have to edit some of the things, because Harvard, it comes in different editions, but they are not, they don't vary that much. But make sure you speak to your supervisor, and then they'll allow you, so that they can allow you, the style of your choice. And please bear with me. This is an online demo, and sometimes some of the things that I'm going to be doing will not show. You can just take notes, and if you do get stuck, ask me a question at the end, or you can refer to your own personal librarian and just tell them you've just attended this training. They tried to show you this, you don't understand. Can they take you through the process? Okay, because we may not all be on the same page at the same time. So what is going to happen here? I've got my chapter, which I need to submit. I'm going to tell the system, I'm going to put my cursor. Let's say I want to code this page. I put my cursor where I want the reference to be. And then I go references, and then I say insert citation. The system must now speak to my desktop version. It's not going to fetch from my online version. Remember, I told you that my desktop should always be opened. It's now opened my desktop. You saw it happening. I go insert citation. What's happening here? Okay. Remember, if you work on your desktop, you're always offline. It doesn't work with an online version. So this is my desktop version. It's when I log in already, it has a sync. It's syncing what's supposed to appear here with what is on my online version. So if I put my cursor on my document and then just go to insert citation, it hasn't, unfortunately, it has to give me a hint. It gives me something like this, and I say, go to Mendeley. If I know the author that I want to cite, I will say to the system, references, insert citation, go and fetch Smith, comma, whatever. But I think the best way to do it is to say, go to my Mendeley account, which is already opened, and I'll say, I want to insert the citation. You highlight that citation that you want to insert in your document, and then you say cite. Can you see that funder? This is my one. I see it's not in caps here. I can change it by hand, and I go again, references, insert citation, go to my Mendeley desktop, fetch this one, cite. There it is. It doesn't have a date. I go again, references, insert citation, go to my desktop Mendeley. I'm inserting this one, cite. There we are. Go to Mendeley, put your cursor on your document, references, insert citation, go to my Mendeley, references. Sometimes it doesn't work, but just bear with me. Go to Mendeley desktop, take this one. No, it didn't sync. Okay. References, online versions. Go to Mendeley, take CRAN and cite CRAN. There it is. So you can go on and on and on. And if you have a version where you can put page numbers, and if I know that there's a way for you to put page numbers, you can highlight this reference and say references and then edit citation. Can you see that? You highlight what you've put in your text, and then you say you want to edit the citation. I can, if I know the version that I'm using, I can say PP, or I can just put the page number, page 14, and then say okay. Can you see that? It has no date, but my page numbers didn't come through. But you can actually also edit this by hand. If you know, maybe you're doing a quotation and then you know where the page number is. If it's APA, you know how to put the page numbers. If it's Harvard, you know how to put the page numbers. Okay, so let's say I'm done with my document, and I just go to the end of my document and then say bibliography. You can call it whatever. This is my bibliography, or you can say reference sources, or you can call it bibliography, or reference sources, or list of sources. Just get the wording from your supervisor, and then you say, okay, now I'm happy with what I've been doing. You go back, references, and then you tell the system, insert bibliography. So it's going to do it for you. There's my list of references. You can underline this if you want to. Remember, it gives it to you like this, and it's alphabetical. This is my first, this is my H. It puts it in an alphabetical order. It's K, it's S, it's V. So I can maybe put you can copy this, or you can, this is your chapter, then you can submit as is. If maybe your supervisor do not want DOI numbers, you go and check with your some of them give you this is a Google ebook. It gives you the link to that particular book, and it tells you when it was accessed. So if your supervisor do not want such in the bibliography, then you can just edit them and remove them. But then what happens here, you don't have to worry about commas, you don't have to worry about italics, you know, whether you have to put the title of a book in italics, or maybe the title of a journal in italics. The system does it for you, depending on what you are using, what kind of a citation method you are using. If you were to change this into an APA format, the list will look different. If you go for MLA, it will be different. If you go for Chicago referencing style, it will also be different, depending on what you've selected, and then it will just do it for you. You don't have to worry about commas. In some instances, some referencing style will give you italics. So it will give you italics. Some of them will give you authors in bold letters, you know, and in some instances you'll have titles underlined. It depends on what referencing style you've chosen. It will give it to you in that particular format. Okay, any questions before I move to my Google Scholar settings?
Yes, there's one from Rolf Bertores. He is using Google Scholar and other tools. So you want to know what are the advantages of using Mendeley?
Advantages of using Mendeley, it's because you have a library that belongs to you once you've created the account. This library will be with you for the rest of your life as a student at UNISA, and also after your stay with us. the only thing that you cannot do after you've created this account is that you cannot use any of our databases to export. But the references that you've kept in this Mendeley or Refworks tool will be with you for the rest of your life. If you go into an academic world, you can go with these references. This is your own little Bible of references wherever you go. I'm not sure about the tools that you're using from Google. I'm not sure how sustainable they are, whether you have to keep them for the rest of your life. But we subscribed to these tools, the Refworks and the Mendeley, so that our students can keep all their references. Even our academics and some of our researchers have these bibliographic tools for them. And let's say you're an academic and you want to submit an article into into one of the journals. Obviously, most journal publications, they use different citation methods. This allows you to use your references, and then you can plug them in here, and then you can change this into the required referencing style that that particular journal wants you to submit the article to. So this is one of the advantages. It's there with you. It's not going to disappear anytime soon. Once you've created an account, you'd always have this account. The only disadvantage is that when your registration expires, you're not going to be able to export, access any of our databases and be able to export. But this will be with you until you are done with your from honors level to PhD level.
Yes, thanks for that. There are other students who would like you to go over that bibliography through Diana and others. They would appreciate if you just go through that step again. Thanks.
Okay. Right, I'll have to add some of the, I'll have to delete this because I don't want to duplicate any of this. Right. Remember, if you have downloaded your Word plugin, like it says on your Refworks where you get started, if you open any of the documents on your Word document, if you open your references, you have to have this, which will allow you to be able to insert. You do your in-text citation. This is what we call your in-text citation. It will have to have this and have your Mendeley open, and it tells you that I'm actually using the style that I'm using. It's Harvard. So you can choose your style in consultation with your supervisor. But what happens when you start adding references? So I'll go to the second paragraph of my document. You have to put your cursor where you want a reference to appear. I'm going to go references, and I'm going to say insert citation. Remember, guys, I can't keep on repeating this. You have to consult your librarians to take you through this. So I'm doing this for the final time. You go to references, you put your cursor where you want your reference to appear. You go references, insert citation, and you choose a citation that you want to cite in your document. So you highlight it and then you say, please cite this. There's a cite at the top there. And then you'll see it will appear. There it is, Walsh and Rana 2020. You go again, you put it where you want it cited, and then you say references, insert my citation. It opened this, go to my Mendeley desktop, and then you cite another document. And then you say, you highlight, and then you say cite, and then it's there. Babatube and all these other 3 authors, 2020. I'm happy, I've done my choices. I go to the end of my document. I will go to the end of this document and put my cursor where it's supposed to be. And then I go back to references. Now I've got all these authors and dates of publications in my documents, I tell the system, now insert the full bibliography of all these references that I've cited. So there it is. It gives me the full bibliography, alphabetically according to whatever. It started with a B, there's an H, here's my H, here's my K, S.
Shezi, you're not audible.
Can't you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you from this side. You may proceed.
Try to unmute yourself if you are muted. Okay, but guys, time is not on our side. There's lots to show. It's almost 10:30 and we are here until 11, so I want to move on. Any other question on the citation in the document? This is your in-text citation. If you have successfully installed your MS Word plugin, it has to appear when you open your Word document. You have to have a Mendeley and your in-text citation and be able to insert your citation. You just have to put your cursor where you want the author to appear. Depending on the citation style, it will appear in that format. You can edit by hand by adding pages. And then you just, at the end of the day, you say to the system, please insert bibliography for me. You put your cursor at the end of your chapter that you want. Let's say you're doing your literature review chapter. You just put your cursor at the end of that chapter. And then you tell the system, insert bibliography. Then it turns all your in-text citation in proper full text format. If it's a book, it will give you in that particular format of a book, an article, a book chapter. It will just do it for you automatically depending on your referencing style. Right. This is my Mendeley account. I want to open a bigger page. Can you see?
Yes, it's visible from my side, and
yeah. I want to open another tab. Remember, I told you about Google Scholar settings for both what we have in the library. You just go to Google Scholar, and then you go to Google Scholar settings here. On these three dots, you click on it, and then you say settings. What are we trying to achieve here? We want to go and do a search, whether it's articles on Google Scholar, and we want to be able to send all these articles to our Mendeley account. The default is this: import links, citation import links, or show links, import citations. You click on that, and then you click on this drop-down menu here, and then if you are with Refworks, obviously you'll go here, and EndNote people will go here, but you can go to reference management and you save. Meaning, whatever you're going to search from here, research methods, and then in sociology. Or research method in any subject area. You are looking for articles on this, and then you search. So it gives me all of this. These are all, it's a mixture of books. Some of them will be articles, and some of them will be full text, some of them will be not. Okay, so what I do if I want to, let's say I'm interested in this book. This is a 1977 book. Maybe this is a seminal title. You know, this is one of the key titles on methodology books in the field of sociology. So this says sociological research methods. The fact that it's 1997, it doesn't mean anything. In some instances, you use all these old books because of the, you know, of the key concepts that are in these books, for that you can understand the methodology parts in the field of sociology. What do you do with this? You have to log into your Mendeley web importer. If you have successfully uploaded it. It sits at the top of your timeline here. I'm going to click on it, and then it says to me, sign in into your account, your Mendeley account. So now I have to sign in. Fortunately, my one, it's already opened. It recognizes me as a person that have signed in. What it does now, it's removing all of these books and placing them on the site. So you're not dealing with a single long page where you can't make a selection. You have to have your web importer, you sign in, and it opens all of this. Let's say I'm interested, I just want to see the ones that are available in PDF format. These are books, some of them will be journal articles, some of them are available, some of them are not in PDF format. I can start now selecting. I'll obviously select the ones which are available in PDF format, Towards Design in Sociology, Research Methods. The second edition are probably, my subject is sociology, it's probably going to help. And then I can add it to my library. I just click on add, and it shows that it's adding. Okay, this one failed, the other one is added. And then I can go and view what has been added into that online library of mine. So already I've logged in. So this is 10:33. There's the time. These two have just been added in. And there's the link to PDF. If I open this reference in my own online library, I can quickly go and read it up as a full text document, or I can read it online. So I'm still within my library. It allows me to read it in my own library. So I can increase the font here. There's the book, it's the full book. There's a preface and all of those. And in most instances, people would like to look at the table of contents of this ebook. Research methods in sociology, how social surveys are conducted, theory, science, and values as in my space. I can either go and click on this and read it, or I can read, page by page, but it's sitting in my library. I don't have to go anywhere else, it's here. Or I can go out and download the PDF, which is actually wasteful because you can just read the item here. So this is how you work on your Mendeley settings. You go and set them in such a way that you are able to export this into your Mendeley account by signing into your Mendeley account using your web importer. Okay. Secondly, on your Google Scholar setting, you have what you call My Library. Here, I've already signed in. You have to sign in. Unfortunately, I've signed in. It's going to give you a list of that WorldCat link, and then you just key in University of South Africa, and then it will say University of South Africa UNISA library, and you tick that. And when you sign in into your Mendeley, your login Google account, it's usually on your Gmail account, and then it allows you to do another search, and then you'll see the references that will come here will say to you, let's say I want to use the same one and search. I'm not signed in, it's not going to give me. All the references that will come through here will have a UNISA library if that particular item is available at UNISA. And again, I will go to my web importer, and then I will select as, but you have to go and set it up first. And then you save it, and then you can, I don't want to sign into Google Scholar now. Okay, any question on Google Scholar settings? Before now, I'm going to go to my second part of the presentation, which is on research methodology database that is called the Sage Research Methods Online. let's talk about, let's just ask me any questions as far as Google Scholar settings are concerned, then we can move on.
There's no questions on Google Scholar.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm now going to move on to my library guides. So we are done with the reference management tool. If there are any other questions as far as referencing is concerned, I'm moving to another part of, because I want to show you this excellent database, especially for the new people who've just registered and are still in their early phase of their research proposal, where to look for methodology stuff.
Ms. Napai, I think there are questions that are coming in. Joshua wants to know how you create a Google Scholar account.
You go and register on, no, it's your Gmail account. All those Gmail accounts you use on Google Scholar when you do the settings for your library. You use your Gmail account. I think most of us do have Gmail accounts. You just create an account with Google, and that is the account that you're going to use when you do your Google Scholar settings. It's your ordinary Google Scholar email account and your password.
The other one, they want to know if they can organize references in themes. I think maybe they meant
folders.
Yeah.
You can. Remember when you go to your Mendeley here, you've got collections. You can create. You can say this is new collection and give it a name. You can add. You can have your, on my desktop, like here. I can have. I've got folders. I can create a new folder if I want to. Can you see what I'm doing? I can add a folder here, which will also appear on my online thing. I can say now I'm looking at material on literature review. And whenever those documents come, I just plug them in here. So this will be my literature review folder. Anything that I export into my online will appear here. Then I will just one by one, and they will highlight and then put them in your literature. So this is my second literature review, reviews, whatever. You can call it whatever you want, but you can create folders and just plug them as you go along with your chapter. You can even say references for chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. As you submit your chapters, you have different references and you submit with your bibliography. But at the end of the day, you have all your documents in one, and then you create, when you submit your thesis, obviously you'll create the whole reference at the end of your thesis.
Yes,
okay.
Last two, the capacity. How many articles can they export to Mendeley? And is it possible to get Zotero on Google or Google Scholar? Thank you. Okay,
there's no limit. The PhD student will know that they have to read and read and read. As many as you have, it doesn't have capacity. It doesn't tell you now stop. You can export as many as you want, whether it's ebooks, whether it's print books, whether it's journal articles, conference proceeding, whatever you are going to be reading. You can build your library as big as you want it. Zotero, on all the library guides, I'm just going to quickly open the history one. I think I know history using Zotero. I think you find it on Google. You can go and there it is. If you click on it, it will open a page where you can download it. And they must go to their terms and conditions and see, what it says. You can go and download it. It's just zotero.org. You can go to their website but read up first and see what it entails. Okay, this is your Zotero. And in some instances, I know in anthropology and some students are using EndNote. And there is on the history library guide, there's a Zotero quick start guide. How do you get going using Zotero? And remember I said to you, I'm just the librarian for these 3 subject areas. You have to go now and consult with your own personal librarian. Each person sitting on this training has a librarian. You ask them where to from here. You've just heard about this. You've got it, you understand what this is all about, but you need more. Just go and find out from your personal librarians. Okay. Right, back to our library guides. I'm going to use my guide, which is information science, and I'm going to demonstrate. If there are no questions as far as referencing is concerned, please let me know if I can continue and move on to SAGE methodology stuff.
Yes, what I did, Ms. Napai, I posted a link of personal librarians, so per college, so I think that will help and direct them to who they should contact. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. What I'm quickly going to do now, I'm going to place a link of that the download to the citation add-in, because the one that is on the new web, the new one, we're currently not subscribing to it as yet. So I'm going to copy this link and put it on the chat. Tony, you can just send it to them. Before I continue with the demo. This is a link where you're now going to use, where you're going to download. This is an old version because we're not yet into the new one. Okay, so you'll share this with them, Tony. I'm now going to continue with my demo. Remember, you all have library guides. Under the tab Research Support, we have this in some databases, we have new books on research methodologies. In some guides, in most guides, most of our guides are actually the same. The feel and look of them, they look the same. They have similar tabs, and they have, some of them have fewer versions, some of them have long versions. So in some of my guides, this is an information science one. There are just generic books. These are feeds. These are just alerts on new books on research methodology. In some instances, these are helpful, and in some instances, they may not help because they tend to be of a generic nature. They're not talking to a person's particular subject area. And in some subject areas, some of our librarians have put research methodology books for all the information science students. These are also basic research methodology books in the field of library and information science. In most instances, these are either e-books, and some of them might be print books. So if you click on any of these, it will take you to the catalog, and it will tell you whether it's an e or it's a print book. And these are just generic books. And and at the bottom of the page there, we have what we call books on generic research processes. When you click on any of this, books on how to avoid plagiarism, on research ethics, you'll have ebooks on research design, on academic writing. And I know you get a lot of training on all these concepts, but we've tried to sort of link what the library has on these topics. If you were to click on academic writing, for instance, it will take you to a list of, in some instances, it's a mixture of ebooks, and some instances it's print books on the kind of books that you can read on academic writing. So there are also some ebooks embedded in the list that you've just clicked on. So, how do you write your research proposal? For instance, if you click here, it will also bring up a list of ebooks or print books in some instances, where you can go and see, because we as librarians, we normally get questions, students ask us, they want a template of proposal writing. We don't have templates that we keep, and the best for you is to be in a conversation with your supervisor. And in some instances, I know when you're still writing your research proposal, there is no supervisor allocated, but you can help yourself by looking at these links, see if you can get an ebook, and just go through an ebook and see how do you design your proposal, how the look and feel of it. And I know in some departments you have guidelines on how to go about it, but in some departments there are not. So the links like these, they help you to sort of get going. Right, and on your right-hand side, we have research support databases. So these ones are key for your research methodology stuff, and especially these two. We have what we call Sage Knowledge, which will give you ebooks, your reference, and your handbooks. And what is nice with Sage Knowledge is that it has this, it has a lot of dictionaries, encyclopedias, because it gives you online references. For instance, if you want to know how to tackle a literature review, they'll have a section for you on how to go about doing a literature review. So familiarize yourself with these. But what I want to show you this morning is this research methods online database. Obviously, you have to authenticate yourself. You use your student number and your MyUNISA password. Remember, your MyUNISA password is key in all your conversation with the library, whether you want to request a book, whether you want to renew a book, whether you want to open any of our links. The system is going to ask you, are you really one of our UNISA community? Are you an academic, a student, currently registered or not? So here you will use your MyUNISA password and authenticate yourself. So the system just wants to make sure if I'm the legitimate user of these all databases. So this is your landing page. So when you come here, you are able to either browse according to discipline. It started as a social science database, but they've since expanded, and it now includes disciplines like economics. It also includes criminology and criminal justice, which never used to be part of this. And it's also including computer science and medicine. Unfortunately, we don't have medicine, but it's cutting across most of the disciplines that are taught at UNISA. You can also browse according to your topics if you want to look at the research design or your planning of research or the philosophy of research or any key concepts in research. You can browse by using the topics, or you can go directly to your discipline and see under your social work, or for instance, or you can look under history or anthropology, what kind of research methodology are applied in your specific field of study. You can also look at the content that is provided. We subscribe to a lot of these, In some instances, if there's anything that is got a key which is locked, it means UNISA doesn't have a subscription to it. We also subscribe to a lot of videos. You'll see when we go and do a demo, some of these videos you are able to view, and some of them will have a key. Any material that has a key on it, just pass on and use an alternative something, because it's something that we don't subscribe to. So you can browse here. You can even open a profile. Remember, now you've got the Mendeley profile. Here you can also open a profile. This will allow you to personalize this database and sort of make it your own. If you are in sociology, you can place all your sociology related research methodology stuff in a space in this database. It will be your personal profile. You can click here when you want to open the profile. It will ask you for your login details, or you can just go and create a profile. I already have a profile, but I don't want to go and open my profile now. So you guys, you can create a profile. It just make it easy for you to keep everything in one space, or if you want, you can export from here into your Mendeley account. It will allow you to do that as well. Okay, let's say I've just passed my honors, I'm in masters. I know you PhD students have an inkling on what all this means. And I just want to understand certain things. You can watch methods come live. And here, these are all the experts in the field of methodologies that will be talking to a specific concept, whether it's interviews, whether it's research design. They'll be explaining to you in a sort of live on how these things function. Or if I want to learn more about quantitative versus qualitative, I can even go there and learn more about it before I even start doing my search. And they've got all these data sets that you can also use if you want to encase some of them are case studies, and they do provide what they call little green books and little blue books on methodologies. So these are written by experts in the gurus in the field of methodologies. But what is nice with this database is that at the bottom of the page, as I'm scrolling down, we have what we call a methods map. A methods map, it's for someone who's unsure of a methodology. I mean, we all know from our honors level that there's this thing called research methods. And when you enter the field of M going up, sometimes you get confused. You don't know whether this fits with what. They've got a very nice methods map looking like this, which you can explore, and it will tell you if you are in the space. Let's say, for instance, if you are in qualitative, these are the legs of qualitative research methods. And in each of these legs, you have different articles, ebooks, sometimes even encyclopedias, or all your key references linked to whatever you are searching. This I'm going to demo just now. What I want to actually make you aware, they have what we call a method space, and I think this one I would encourage all our PhD students to go and sign up for this one. This method space, it's free of charge. Even when you go to Sage Research Methods, it's when you sign in, you don't have to pay anything. Remember, UNISA has already paid for all our researchers and all our students. So these things are freely available for you to use. So the method space, it connects all research communities. So all the gurus of methods are continually having a space here discussing special topics on a daily basis. So once you've logged in, you'll have you can browse through all the other things that they've been discussing. Like for instance, here there was a space where they discuss research methods. You can click in there if you've already logged in, and then you know. Sometimes they discuss big data in the social side, in the social research. What is that? So these are experts discussing, and if you're lucky, you'll find that on certain days they're discussing, you know, literature review, for instance, or research design, or, you know, interviews or focus groups. And then you can listen up, or you go and you start reading what this is all about. So I would encourage all our PhD students to go and connect with all the other research community. And if you're lucky, you might find that the methodology that you are using in your research features here. And then it sort of gives you a leeway to be able to navigate what you are currently working on. So please, at the end of the Sage Research Methods Online, at the bottom page, there's this method space, which is available for anyone who's embarking on the research journey. Remember, all the PhD students will have to publish at some point. If you were to publish, you would want to know what other researchers are up to and what they are doing. Okay. So back to the methods map. So I'm going to leave this with you so that you can go and browse your disciplines and see what there is. But I want us to look at the methods map. The methods map, it starts at the top of what this whole thing is about. It says this is all about research methods, and it tells you what this is. It gives you sort of a synopsis of the research methods. So it maps it for you. Remember I said sometimes we get too muddled up. We know there's research design, we know there's research ethics, and we know there's philosophy of research, but we don't know where it fits in. So it sort of puts it in the middle of a room, if you can say that, and then gives you all the narrower terms. It tells you this bigger concept, it's all about this, and there's more. So it sort of gives you a total map. So you know, when you're speaking of research methods, you have to talk to all of this, and it depends what you want to go and do. If you want to go and do quantitative data analysis or qualitative, you have to click on it to see what it says. If I click on qualitative one, it will tell me that I'm coming from this angle, and I've just opened this. It now puts my qualitative data analysis in the middle of my thoughts, and it tells me, when you speak on qualitative data analysis, you are actually talking about coding, content analysis, discourse analysis, all these other, and framework analysis. And if I were to choose any one of these, still, I will get, and there's more. So qualitative data analysis is composed of all of this. Should I go for this kind of a methodology, and I want to look at the framework analysis, or should I want to sort of look at everything that is encompassed by qualitative data analysis? I can open this. Then it will give me all kinds of references, be it articles, be it ebooks, be it encyclopedic information or dictionaries or chapters in books. It will give me the whole spectrum. But if I maybe want to look at framework analysis, I'm just interested in that particular section of my qualitative data analysis. I have to go and look at my framework analysis. It gives you a hyperlink to each concept where you can just zoom in and see what it is all about. So I'm here. These are my results. And what is a framework analysis? This is my first one. And I can look at all the content, or I can say I want to look at the content that UNISA subscribes to. I can either change to this, but I would ask the PhD students to go for all content, so that when there's something that you see and you think the library should have, you can send it to your personal librarian straight away to say, look, I've picked up this reference from Sage and I want the library to, and you speak to your supervisor to say, look, this is one of the sources that the library can benefit if you can, access this. If you want to stick to only the content that is available to you, meaning the content that is available to all our researchers as a UNISA community, you can go to this. And then it will give you the variants. There are books, it will tell you, and all of these are online. They've got their own handbooks, they've got their major works. Remember I said there are little green and blue books, they've got nothing in that, or you can just go for all 62. Or you can go and look at encyclopedic meaning of this concept, framework analysis. You can either open this, there's no dictionary term for that. You can go and open the encyclopedia and read up. What does it mean? What does this framework analysis mean? Or if there are articles, it will also give you, there are videos. Unfortunately, there are no videos. And then I think there are articles, there are only 2 journal articles. So you'll find, it depends on what you're looking at. You'll find a lot of articles for certain things. You'll find a lot of ebooks for certain things, and maybe fewer articles for certain things, and a lot of ebooks for certain things. But it's actually nice to go through everything and decide whether you want to look at the whole content, and then you just browse according to, these are some of the case studies. If they have a lock, you'll know UNISA doesn't subscribe to this. And what is nice with this database, at the middle of your search, it will refer you to Sage Knowledge. Remember I told you about Sage Knowledge? They are actually from the same stable. Sage Knowledge will give you all the encyclopedic information, and there's lots of dictionaries and even a lot of handbooks. So you can also, it's search between the two. It doesn't throw the Sage Knowledge outside. It will sort of refer you to what you have been searching on. This framework analysis concept, it's going to search it for you also from Sage Knowledge, and then it gives you the results at the bottom. And if you have registered your account here, you can just add this to your reading list. So your reading list will be appearing at the top here. Once you've logged in, you will have your reading list somewhere here. So you just add to reading list, and then it pops in your reading list. So let's say we want to look at this first one. Without me actually telling the system, I want articles, I want ebooks, and it opens the whole thing. This is a project planner. It gives it to you in this format. And it gives you all what is the visual, phenomena, content, thematic, and all of this you can read either online, you can download a PDF. If you want to know what content analysis it is, you can download this, or it tells you. What is nice with this, it says to you, what is your preference of your citation? You can change this. You can change your citation into your preferred citation, and they give all these top 5 which are being used. There's your Harvard. You can share this, it's a chapter from this particular project planning thing. You can share this and send. And you can also, I think you can also export it when you share. Oh yeah, you can only share this. Maybe you want to take this page for yourself, or you can download the whole chapter of this particular section. This is a project planner, data analysis, interpretation. You can just download this page, or I can just go back to my reference, because now if I want this whole thing, I can export this whole thing. I can either copy it to clipboard to export, or I can just send this whole thing to my Refworks. This is EndNote. There's your Mendeley. I can just say, open this in my Mendeley account, and I change my referencing style before I send this. Or I can just change all my referencing styles to the things that I want to send to my reading list. Right. Remember, this is your methods map. I was working on the methods map. What I would also advise you do when you are here, you can also. So I've looked at qualitative data analysis. You can go to quantitative data analysis or key concepts of research on your classification of research bias, reliability, whatever method you want to use, and you learn more about this. Remember, I said you can browse according to disciplines. You can even browse according to topics. You can even also, when you go to the first page, besides the methods map, you can just go and say, I'm interested in anything on literature review. About my spelling. And then you search. You can search anything. If you don't want to use the methods map, it allows you to do your own searching. And then it says to you, do you want to go and see how we map your literature review and see it in the methods map? And then you can say yes, but if you are confident on what you're looking at, you can just go. There's these the videos that you can, they are very short. On how you create a literature review. You can just go and click. I'm scared that it might throw me out. We've got these encyclopedic explanations, what it is, what the literature review is all about, and what makes a successful literature review. So if you're happy with this, you can just, let's say I want this one. How do I write a literature review? If I'm logged in, I can just send it to my space, to my reading list. I can change the citation in which I want this. So this is an encyclopedic explanation. You can read it online, or you can download it so that you can read it in your spare time. How do you write a literature review? Or you can share this and send it to your email so that you can have it sent to your email, or you can, if you want to cite it, you can change your citation and then just send it and export it to your preferred reference management tool. And in this case, if you want to send it to your Mendeley, you can do that, or you can change it to your Refworks. I see there's Zotero, and there's also your EndNote. So it also allows you can send this whole encyclopedic text, this whole thing. This is the entry, but there's an A to Z list of this kind of an encyclopedia that you can look at and see. Besides writing a literature review, what does this encyclopedia? It will give you a table of contents. Then you can just browse and download the things that you want, or just export them to your to your Mendeley account. Okay, let me just try to export this into my account. And then I'll say Harvard and then say open. Can you see what happens? It sits here. But I told you when you export in some of these databases, like we did on EBSCOhost, then you have to open this RIS file. It will go directly to my, it drops first into my, there it is. It drops into my desktop. It says here, one document successfully imported, there it sits. If I go and open it, there it is. There's the link to the full text. Can you see that? So I'm here on the methods map space, not this one. I've changed this. You go to your site. I want to cite this. I change it into my Harvard and change it into my Mendeley and opened it, and it gave me that RIS file. And I click on the RSS file so that I want it to be dropped into the Sage Encyclopedia of Communication Research Methods, 11:12 a.m. It drops into my account. Let's go to my online Mendeley and see if it's here. It's not here as yet, but as soon as I log out and log in again, it will sort of speak to what is here. I can sync this so that I can see what's on my online account as well. You go at the top there and use that syncing. So it's now talking to my online version. When I go to my online version, there it is. No, it's not this one. Or it's still syncing. Let's go back. It has to be somewhere here. Let me go to recently added. It's still not here. It's probably, I have to log in and log out again so that it can add the one that I've just added into my desktop. Okay, so this is your Sage Research Methods online. Okay, this is method space. I'm done with that. Any questions as far as Sage Research Methods is concerned? Do we have any questions?
No questions, but some comments from PhD students. Some feel that as PhD students, maybe they need separate session, but I will send the evaluation form and they should put these suggestions and we'll see how we go about it.
Or they are suggesting that they need a separate session. Yes, on methodologies.
On the Sage, yeah, because you were referring a lot to PhD students, so some feel that there has to be a dedicated session for them.
No, but they can ask here. We still have we are booked for 12, until 12. What is their concern? Because I just said for those PhD, even the M students can also go and register with Methods Map. This is not only for PhD, most researchers are on the space. Even the master students, remember we are encouraging all our masters to end their masters and move on to their PhD. They can always register an account with Methods Map, which is a space where all the research methodology stuff is discussed on a weekly basis. Like this one, it was 15 hours ago. So you can also go to their blog and just once you registered, you'll be able to open any one of these. It doesn't have to be only. I was just saying that maybe the PhD students will find this more useful than the masters, but the master students are also welcome to register. Anyone can register. A person that is interested in the research methodology space. It's actually nice for you to register in your earlier years so that when you move up the ladder of your research, you sort of have a hang of all what is happening as far as methodologies are concerned. But in any case, we'll see if we can have another session with a different group. But it's just, I don't think it's necessary. Okay, back to anyone wants me to demonstrate anything besides. Remember, I said to you, if you go on your first page of this, you can do anything. I just want you to look at what, how nice this database is. Remember I said you can, literature review. If you look at the literature review and then you just search, it gives you, you can go and say, I want information on qualitative research. You can search for anything, and then it will just bring you back and say, do you want to look at the literature review as in the space of a map? And then you can just go, instead of you going through the references. So it will say to you, you now want to undergo, you want to do a literature review. What must you involve in your discussion on the literature review? Literature review is composed of critical reading, writing and thinking, and critique, secondary research. And if you want to know which are the related terms to literature review, you can just click on here. It will say to you, it's systematic review, meta-analysis, all of these, but we are here. But you can go and look at the related terms to literature, and it tells you it's part of planning research. It's broader. It's when you plan your research. It's a broader, your broader term. It's planning research. You can even go there and see, how do I do that? Or you can just go and see, now I need items that will sort of like advise me on how do I look at this literature review monster. And then you click, or else you go and look at each and every item individually. How do I critique? What is the secondary research? What is it involved? What does it involve when they say critical reading, writing and thinking? Or you can just look at the entire literature review in its totality and see what kind of references you're going to get under the whole umbrella of literature review. You can look at all content if you want to, or you can just say, I prefer certain, and there are videos. You can listen to a video and sort of get a sense of what this is all about, or you can just go and look at this, this project planner thing, or in some instances, you get a lot of videos, and some of them we have access and some of them we don't. And at the bottom of the page, you're obviously going to be referred to a Sage Knowledge, where it will give you more on literature review. So you've got a lot of information on the same thing. Or you can just say to the system, okay, fine, I just want to learn more about, let's go back. Remember, we were looking at the literature review and they gave you have to be critical, you have to, do secondary research. How do I do that? And then it says to you, okay, fine. Do you have anything on secondary research? How do I go about it? And then it gives you references on that secondary research. Critical thinking, critique, it will also give you items on the same. And then you just open, conducting secondary research. How do you do that? You can look at it. And this is on marketing. Remember, this now, it's not subject specific, it's broader. If you want to browse according to your own subject field, you can just go and browse, in your specific subject. So you can now see, how do I conduct secondary research? This is a book chapter which you can cite and send to your Mendeley account or Refworks, or you can download, or you can read it online. There's your online. It tells you can either take notes from here, but make sure that when you rather work online, you're not exporting these references to your Mendeley where they'll be sitting. Make sure that you reference properly, because you'll forget that you pick up this on Sage and it was a chapter of a book. You have to reference it properly. That is why I think the best for you is to just send all of these to your Mendeley account, because it comes with a full reference, so that you remember what this was all the time. Okay, and if you go back, you know, the same mantra happens if you use the methods map. It maps it for you in such a way that you can drill into the nitty-gritty of what the whole literature review is all about, so that you cover the entire concept in totality. It has to involve all the three: your critical thinking, your let's go back to literature review, so that you cover all of this. And then maybe you look at your related terms, to what is it related to? And then you get references, or you just go and browse according to your own. In economics, if there are economic students in this group, and it will just give you basically what the broader. It tells you this involves the following, and then it's up to you. Or you can just, within the economics, you can filter. Or you can modify the search and say, in economics, I'm looking for this particular. So here you have to know what you're looking for. But when you use the map, it sort of drives you to stick to what the concepts in your research journey should include. If you go for qualitative, this is what you have to go and look at. If you go for qualitative, these are the concepts that are involved in qualitative. But if you already know your method, you can just search under your specific method. You can go and search under surveys, under interviews, under focus groups. For those who are still sort of like battling to figure out, I think the methods map is one of our marvelous things that will sort of give you a straight and narrow focus on what you have to research on. Tony, I think this is where I'm going to end it. If there are no questions, I think I've basically covered everything here that yes. I wanted to cover this morning, unless there are things that they want me to run over and repeat. We still have another 25 minutes. We can do that, and but otherwise, I think this is where I want to stop.
Yes. On Sage research methods, Mina wants to know if, or rather, how should she get access to the database if they are off campus?
No, they've got library guides. All the library guides have a link to Sage Research Methods online. If she knows what her library guide is, she will know that she has access to Sage. All the guides are the same, whether it's Afrikaans or whatever. You go according to your subject area. Any of these guides have a tab that's called Research Support. On each and every Research Support guide, there's your Sage Research Methods online. It's under the Research Support databases. If you click on Research Support tab, on each guide, you are bound to get to this. It's there. Most of our guides are the same. Remember, I showed you my information science. This one is computing. We have all these new books on research methodologies, which is a feed. It's a new books that come to the library on research methodology, but they are generic. So you might not find your sort of your subject specific one. But we have some of them. People who are looking at grounded theories. There's a new book that has just come in the library on developing a grounded theory. So you have to just navigate the whole space of your library guide. And here we've actually also put some an overview of the SAGE research methods, and some of the videos are embedded. And some of the librarians have, like Miss, this one is for computing, and it's Miss Naidu, not Naidu, yeah, it's Philistia Naidu. So she's put all the videos here. So you have to go to your specific subject guide, you go to your research support, under research support databases, you find all of these, and there's your SAGE research methods online. It's on every guide. And these actually are off-campus links. So if you use it off-campus, you'll be able to access it. All our library guides are actually available off-campus.
Yes, thanks for clarifying that, because it responds to the 3 questions that were coming up. But we are receiving messages. Keith, Scott, Mulokela, they are very happy with how you address this research method. And like you said, students may contact their librarians and find out on training they conduct on Mendeley and other referencing style tools. So yeah, I think that will cover some of the questions that they raised earlier.
Okay.
So there's the question that came, all sources logged. I'm not sure what they mean by that.
If you do a search and you find that most of them are logged, it means we don't have a subscription to that.
Okay.
Because the ones without keys, you can just, remember when I was doing my demo, I could open most of the stuff. Like, for instance, if I were to go under data collection from the research method, and if I want to look at data collection, I would either go there on my hyperlink and just check what is there on data collection. I'll find a mixture of things. I'll find videos, I'll find book chapters, I'll find encyclopedias. So there they are. This is it's an ebook. It's not locked. But if you come across something that is locked, it means we don't have a subscription. So I can just quickly go and open the chapter. I think it's a chapter in this book where it talks about developing data collection instrument and describing data collection procedures. I can either download this or I can cite it and send it to my Mendeley. All you have to do is to just change your style and change where you want it to go, either on Mendeley or Refworks or EndNote, and then you just send. And then you would have sent all the reference, you know, the whole chapter of a book plus where it comes from. So this is a chapter 6 of a book in this particular title. When it lands on your reference management tool, it comes with a full edition. You see, it took a little while for my online one to come through. Remember that SAGE encyclopedia? If I open it now, I've asked for my desktop to sync. It did. So here's my full text is sitting here. So I can go and read it within the space of my library. I don't have to go somewhere else or go to my files and look for it, you know, where I've downloaded to. So it's sitting here. So I can just open the link and start reading the whole part on whatever I was looking for.
Yes, thanks, Ms. Napai. We're just receiving positive message. Some managed to like Lena managed to download and register for Mendeley, and it's working perfectly. And on green books, someone wants to know if the library have access to those.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We do. We do. Let me just quickly go there. There, our little blue and green books. If you click on one of those, you want to know about them. If you click on them, it will give you. They give you. They tell you what these little green and blue books are all about. It's sort of like it's a compilation from the gurus on methodology. So some of them are writing up these little green books, and some of them are writing the blue ones. So depending on the topics of their specialty, like this one is on participatory action research. So if you click on it, it's a little blue book. So it will sort of like give you, you are able also to cite, and we have access, and it's got different chapters depending on what you're looking at. If you want to look at action research, these are the chapters that are covered in the small little. If you want to look at this, you open it, you download it, or you can just download, cite this, and send it to. If it has a lock, then it means we don't have access to that kind, but we do have access to all of their little blue and green books, and we also have access to their case studies. Remember, they also have case studies. Those who are looking at case studies, their cases, you can go and see, what kind of case, and people who want to look at that data sets we have. And if something is logged, then you must know, you must pass. We don't have access to it unless you want to recommend it to the library. If it's key to your research, you can't do without that. Then you send your librarian an email, and if there's money, we escalate it to a relevant division, then they can get it for you. But of course, with the approval of your supervisor. Okay, we have access to both little green and blue books. Another question?
Yes, I think okay, questions are coming. Okay, just hold on. Okay, this one is from Keith. He wants to know how to choose between Mendeley and Refworks. So it goes back to that one, but yeah.
It's a preference, Keith. You go and look at both. Remember, we've got that reference management tools guide. Just go to the guide and see what each requires. See if which will work for you. What I can say is that with Refworks, you always have to be online to do whatever you want to do. But with Mendeley, it allows you, it gives you an option to work offline. That's why you have that desktop version. You can just work on your desktop wherever you are. You don't have to be connected to any form of internet. But with Refworks, you have to. And unfortunately, Refworks is a little bit behind. It hasn't developed a sort of a desktop version, and I'm hoping and with the COVID situation, I think sooner they'll realize that they'll have to do it, because most of our people who are using Refworks, they would prefer also to have a desktop where they can, because it's actually a very nice it's very nice tool. We all started with Refworks, but most of us have moved to Mendeley because of this desktop version.